Hey boaters and motor guys, it's Keith McGowan here. I am the Outboard Dad, here to help you have a better boating experience. Today we're going deeper into our rebuild. We're into finishing touches now, literally. We're done boring, we're done partial honing. We're going to do a ball hone, then we're going to do a plateau hone, show you how that works, mainly to get all the little bits and grits out of those cylinder walls. But first we have to chamfer all of our ports. A lot of guys will tell you, especially machine shop guys, if you ball hone, there's no reason to chamfer your ports because the balls are going to get in there. And yes, that is going to do that to a certain extent. But as I've said before, I had an older guy teach me, and it's more of a foolproof way. I like to be as best as we possibly can for these motors so they last as long as possible. So it's a simple flap disc on my Dremel tool. Right? I have a spare one here that is fresh because I'm going to start with one that's old and get in there. As you see, it's already worn and kind of crowned. Should be enough to get the whole job done, but if I can't get into those specific areas where I need the tip of this, then I'll swap out at the end. So all I'm doing is going around that port, just around the edges, just to knock the edge off. I'll also go around the top of the cylinder with this carefully, just to get a little, if there is an edge on it. Actually, I can see it still has some of the chamfer from when it was new, even though we bored this 20 over. So I'll just, clean it up a little bit, make sure there's no burrs there. There shouldn't be anything there, just so when we slide our piston in with our rings, we don't crack a ring while we're doing it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my safety glasses on first. You do have to plug the tool in. I'm going to take my flashlight. I'm going to turn the Dremel over a little bit here so I'm facing myself, and I'll just turn it on. Not a super high speed, maybe 3/4. And let's chamfer some ports. Bring it a little closer so you can see this. Doesn't take long. Chamfered all the ports. I even went through the standard cylinder that we didn't bore. We just kind of honed up and got some crosshatch in there. I still went through that just in case there was a little burr or nick. So now we have a simple flex hone that we're going to go in there. Sometimes it's called a dingleberry hone. Some guys call it a Christmas tree hone. So we lubed up the cylinders really, really good. We're going to work this in and out, lubricated the heck out of it, and we're just going to work this in and out. Making sure we start off spinning. We don't want to not be spinning while we're entering this because you could bend some of the little balls. It's just little plastic wires on there, and we want to run it in and out 20 times. Do it even on all of them. Same thing on the other side. Now you can see after that ball hone how finished this looks. Now it looks like a finished cylinder. Beautiful, just what we like to see. Now we went ahead, put away our ball hone. I don't want it to get dirty. I don't want any little bits getting in there. I'm very particular about keeping these things very clean, especially in the finishing touches of this honing. So what's next? These I make sure I keep very clean as well. I'm not going to use this yet, and I'm going to tell you why. So I keep these very clean in plastic bags that we're not allowed to sell anymore or make anymore or something. So this is a diamond plateau brush. The reason I want to go in with this is I want to get all the little bits of grinding that are inside embedded in those cylinder walls out. So I'm going to work this back and forth really good, but I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to get my pressure washer out. We're going to clean the heck out of this block with a pressure washer, get all the heavy grit out of it. Then I'm going to stick it in my parts washer, and I'm going to do this with my parts washer. Then I'm going to pressure wash it again to make sure I get all the little bits out of it. So I'm actually going to use a little 30 weight oil on this, or a little Shell Rotella oil on this, just some motor oil, as I work it through to try and break those stones loose. So for now, we'll cover it back up so it doesn't get dirty. And now we got to get our pressure washer out, and we're going to blast the heck out of this block, making sure we get all the little grindings out of it. Also going to clean up my workbench here, make sure there's no grittiness around, clean everything up. We're still going to use our drill, so I'm going to put that aside, but we're going to use it in our parts washer over here when we do that finish plateau hone. It's going to be cool, and let's get this block washed. Nice and pressure washed. I kind of looked inside there and make sure there wasn't any grit pockets left in there. If you noticed when I was blasting, there are the small ports on the sides that have the bleed lines that go back. I made sure I blasted those bleed lines. They actually enter into the intake, so I made sure that was blasted out. I went from the exhaust and blew that back into the cylinders because that grit's going to get into those exhaust ports. Both ways back and forth, flip the block over, both ways back and forth, so we know this is nice and clean now. I'm still gonna go at it with brake cleaner, and then I have a pretty cool thing I got on Amazon somewhere here. It's a nozzle with a hose you can buy to put on your spray can, and it sprays in 4 directions. So before we finish cleaning, after we do our plateau hone with our brush to get the rest of that grit out, we're going to clean thoroughly with that before we get it back on our bench and start reassembling parts. So now I'm going to get some 30 weight oil that I have in the shed, so I have to go get that. And we're going to start doing that plateau hone. We'll show you how that works next. Something didn't get recorded, probably because I didn't push the button and I thought I did. I was probably standing here talking to the phone thinking I'm recording and I wasn't. Back when we did our cleaning, or before we did our cleaning, we went ahead and cleaned all the gasket surfaces off. And I want to show you how we're going to test it. So first I take my scraper. We want to use a sharp object, but we don't want to dig in to that aluminum. So we want to clean it. So I clean it, all the rough spots with a piece of emery cloth. And then I take a flat file, hold it on the emery cloth, and go back and forth to make sure it's nice and clean. And then we go ahead and check it to make sure it is straight. We're going to do the same thing with the heads. I believe I already checked the heads before we ordered parts because this is definitely something you want to know beforehand. So the tolerances in the book says 4 thousandths. It can be warped, is acceptable that the gasket will take up. So let's see where we're at on our block. Again, I had measured this in the past, so I missed it, so I want to make sure you guys check it. Now I always like to go at angles and also straight across. So this is a Starrett straight edge, right? It's a machine tool. So I know it's perfectly flat and straight, and certainly you can send these out to be tested as well. So mainly I want to check to see, and I start with the 2 thousandths because I know I can go to 4. So I want to make sure I can't get that underneath there anywhere. But I want to check more than just one place. I want to go around and I want to go at an angle like this. Make sure I can't get this underneath there, because if I can't get 2 thousandths underneath there, then I know I'm obviously not at 4 thousandths. So I want to check it a couple different ways just to be sure, because it could be warped. Most times the heads are what will warp before anything else. But again, we want to check it just to be sure and make sure we're on the up and up and that this will go. Look at that. So I can get my 2 thousandths starts to go under there. So let's see, let's check with a 3. So we'll jump to 3 thousandths. And that will not go under it. So we know we're good. The other thing I did that I forgot to video as well, it's on my Mercury rebuild one, but every single one of these holes that have take the head bolts, I ran a tap through and just ran it through all of them just to make sure. Sprayed them all out with brake cleaner, and then when I pressure washed, I made sure I pressure washed each hole because I don't want any of that grit or anything getting in there. So didn't want to forget to show you that and make sure that that's all in the up and up. Now we're ready to put the block in the pressure washer here, get our oil out, and do that finish plateau hone. So we'll continue with our plateau hone in the next video. Then, once we clean the block again, we'll be ready to start reassembly. So please like, subscribe, send me any comments that you have. If you have any questions about a motor that you're working on, please put in the comments. Again, if you buy my used outboard motor buying guide, it's $20 on Amazon, and I've helped you. Please send me a review, a positive review about the book so that I can get more positives on there is what I'm asking for. And again, I'm willing to give you a half an hour free over the phone, a $250 value to help you. So if I've helped you with a motor, or if you need help with a motor, go ahead and purchase it. Please, in the comments, put your email address or ask me for mine. It's keith@outboarddad.com, so it should be easy to remember, and we'll get you out on the water and having fun. Have a great day.